Greetings, UP citizens. Welcome to Empower 906. In our last installment, we talked about the population problem the UP faces. In this installment, we're going to talk about how that manifests itself into employment and tax revenue. Thanks for joining. The employment conundrum. You can see in this chart, this growth of industries in Michigan, 2016 to 2026. You can see in the top of that chart, it is healthcare. Red is UP, gold is Michigan. Healthcare then in the 10-year period will grow only 1.6%, while Michigan grows at a whopping 17%. Looking down to the chart, you can see that other areas are negative growth, administrative support, production, results of lack of investment, results of digitization and automation. Overall, though, the growth in Michigan being 7%, with the UP at a negative 1.5, a differentiation of 8.5%. With this lack of growth, specifically in healthcare, we do not have enough people to serve the retirees of the future. We've talked about the younger population is leaving. We've talked about the older population is moving into retirement. These are in conflict and can be expected to cause significant issues in the healthcare field in the next 5 to 10 year period. Further on this topic, even beyond healthcare, if the workforce is in decline and we do not have growth, we'll have a difficult time servicing the public needs in regards to firefighters, police, waste management, other infrastructure. So it's not just in the, let's say, typical sectors, it is in our basic infrastructure where we are going to have a large amount of stress. The manifestation of tax revenue. You can see here in this chart on the left side, we are looking at tax revenue from 2010 to 2020 adjusted for inflation. If you take all the counties together in the UP, you have a negative tax revenue growth of 1.9%. This is a critical issue, of course, when you look at the UP overall. But let's take this just a little bit further. Disruptions. It's been part of the UP's economic climate for decades. We lost our manufacturing when Ford pulled out. In the 70s, we lost mining due to globalization. And then in the early 2000s, we lost our commerce, our local commerce. Here in Iron Mountain, Kingsford, we had a Shopko, Kmart, JCPenney, and Sears. Today we have only a Walmart. You can think of the future disruption as well in regards to timber extraction. With digitization, everybody is reading their books and so forth on Kindles and their smartphones. So the need for paper has continued to drop off year over year and will continue to do so. Further, we have to take this a little bit more extreme and talk about the effects of COVID on our university system. Universities, the three major universities in the UP, they are a good economic stimulus, but it is slightly artificial. There is a lot of government money that comes with it. And that, due to COVID, is under scrutiny. The university industry, if you will, has not had a cost-cutting reset ever. And it is expected, because of COVID, because of the ability to now remote learn, people will not be wanting to go to brick and mortar type of university. Rather, they can do it remote online at a much cheaper cost. This is, of course, stress for the university. But on the other side, there is a good point. Maybe more people can access university type learning without the cost of the brick and mortar side of it. Nevertheless, we can expect the stresses upon the universities to really amp up in the near future. And when you look at all the universities in Michigan, which ones are going to get a disproportionate pressure or stress? It could manifest itself in the UP. At the end of the day, what we want to look at is how does the university impact the tax revenue of the UP? So if you look to the middle bar, we've taken out the counties that include the 3 universities, and you can see that the tax revenue drops significantly. So if you consider that stress on a university will definitely manifest itself in those counties, we can expect that the revenue overall in the UP will decline significantly. But let's take another look at something else that is a stimulus. Casinos. Casinos are an economic driver, of course, but when you consider the longevity and when you consider the impact of casinos, we have to really look deeply on what it is we want as the UP. Casinos are filled with older generation, smoking, drinking, pulling on the one-armed bandit. That older generation will not be here forever. And the younger generation, if they gamble, they get on their smartphones on their sofas. So they will not be filling up brick and mortar casinos in the future. Plus, look at the .coms, goldennugget.com, betmgm.com. There's hundreds of them that are disrupting the casino business. So we can expect that the casino business will be in peril in the next years. So let's consider if the casinos are gone, which is this third bar, and we can look only at counties that do not have casinos and of course do not have universities, it's at a whopping negative 13%. Okay. Also to this topic, casinos, is that really how we want to represent ourselves in rural America? Casinos as our main economic driver? I don't think so. Do we accept that casinos will be disrupted and that we need to develop economic plans not considering that particular industry? Further on that is tourism. Tourism is strongly relied upon in future plans. And you can see here, COVID impacted the traffic across the bridge, which only shows how sensitive tourism is to disruptions. Yes, today we enjoy a surge in tourism as COVID's restrictions are reduced, but nevertheless, the sensitivity remains. Also, as we said with healthcare, in the future, where do we think we're going to get the workforce to support tourism? Right now, the younger generation is leaving. Apparently, they do not consider tourism and casinos are as attractive. Sure, tourism is a good way to lure people to the UP, but what's really keeping them here? So with that, just a short discussion on what does it mean? We know that we have a reduction in population. We have a lack of people. Therefore, we have a declining workforce. It's difficult to attract businesses, and lack of business makes it difficult to attract people, and the spiral continues. On the right side, with that lack of workforce, the lack of people, property value goes down. There's less demand. Therefore, property tax income is reduced. With that loss of tax revenue, we have to have reductions in city staff or city projects. Therefore, water and sewer is overdue for replacement. And then at the bottom, I'll get no argument from anybody in Michigan, our roads continue to deteriorate and be state-of-the-art bad in comparison to the United States. The other thing here that we have to remember is there were towns, let's say Calumet, maybe Ontonagon and Bessemer, that had larger populations and they had infrastructure in place to serve those populations. The population has decreased, but the infrastructure has not. Therefore, the burden to replace or keep the infrastructure up to date is placed on fewer citizens. Therefore, the tax burden goes up. That, again, is a ping to the attractiveness of the UP, somebody to look to move here. What's the infrastructure look like? What does the tax base look like? And what is the burden they'll have to deal with? That's today's discussion on employment and tax. In the next installment, we're going to talk about further headwinds regarding technology, in digitization, electrification, automation, and we're going to talk about the sustainability, climate change, recycling, These headwinds will impact the UP directly and add further stress to an already stressed economic climate. Thanks for watching. And as always, please motivate your friends and family to join empower906.org.